Niger's mega-projects. Can General Tchiani transform the Sahel? A new direction for Niger. For decades, Niger was known for two things: immense natural wealth and persistent poverty. Despite vast uranium reserves, growing oil potential, and strategic importance across West Africa, much of the population faced energy shortages, weak infrastructure, unemployment, and dependence on foreign partners. Then everything changed. In 2023, following a military takeover led by Abdourahamane Tchiani, Niger entered a new political era. The country expelled foreign troops. Relations with France deteriorated. Regional tensions intensified. Alongside Mali and Burkina Faso, Niger helped establish the Alliance of Sahel States, the AES. Beyond geopolitics, something else began taking shape. An ambitious vision centered around energy independence, industrial development, infrastructure expansion, and national sovereignty. Oil refineries, agricultural mega-projects, gas pipelines, road corridors, mining reforms, and a push to redefine who controls Niger's wealth. Supporters call it economic liberation. Critics call it an uncertain experiment under military rule. This is Clearview Chronicles. Chapter 1. The country Tchiani inherited. To understand Niger's transformation, you first have to understand the country itself. Niger sits at the crossroads of North and West Africa. It possesses major uranium deposits, expanding oil production, strategic trade routes, and vast solar energy potential. Yet for decades, economic development lagged behind resource wealth. Infrastructure remained weak. Industrialization was limited. Many citizens questioned why a leading uranium producer still struggled with electricity shortages. Public frustration deepened. After the 2023 coup, Tchiani's administration framed its mission around one central idea: sovereignty. Not only military sovereignty, but economic sovereignty. Chapter 2. Energy Independence. The Dosso refinery vision. Perhaps no project symbolizes Niger's ambitions more than the proposed Dosso oil refinery. Government officials have promoted plans for a large-scale refinery designed to process up to 100,000 barrels per day. If realized, the project could dramatically expand Niger's refining capacity and reduce reliance on imported fuel. The broader vision is ambitious: fuel not only for Niger, but exports to neighboring AES partners like Burkina Faso and Mali. Supporters argue the refinery could transform Niger into an energy hub for the Sahel. But there is an important distinction. As of 2026, the refinery remains a major proposed development rather than a completed project. Construction timelines, financing, and implementation details continue evolving. Still, politically, the symbolism is enormous. A country long exporting raw resources wants to refine its own energy domestically. Chapter 3. The Agricultural Gamble. Djirataoua. For years, food insecurity challenged Niger. Climate stress, desertification, drought cycles, weak agricultural infrastructure, all placed pressure on one of the fastest-growing populations in the world. Now, the government is betting heavily on agro-industrialization. In the Maradi region, officials announced plans for a major agro-industrial center centered around the Djirataoua irrigated zone, an area already known for year-round farming. The planned investment is estimated around 60 billion CFA francs. The project is designed to cover more than 600 hectares and integrate agricultural production and food processing industries, irrigation systems, logistics facilities, and employment generation. Government announcements also reference expanded irrigation areas and a future dry port, connections to the Kano-Maradi railway corridor, and local processing for agricultural products. Supporters see Djirataoua as a blueprint for food sovereignty. Critics warn implementation will be the true test. Because in Niger, climate can make or break national ambitions. Chapter 4. The Trans-Saharan Pipeline Dream. Another project with enormous geopolitical implications is the proposed Trans-Saharan gas pipeline. The concept is massive, a roughly 4,100-kilometer network linking Nigerian natural gas through Niger toward Algeria and European markets. If completed, the pipeline could reshape African energy trade. For Niger, benefits could include transit revenues, strategic leverage, energy infrastructure expansion, and regional investment. Following renewed regional diplomacy, Niger and Algeria resumed discussions around connectivity and cooperation. But here too, caution matters. The project remains long-term and technically difficult. Security risks across the Sahel, financing needs, and geopolitical uncertainty continue to complicate progress. Still, few infrastructure ideas carry higher stakes. Chapter 5. Connecting the Sahel. Niger's ambitions extend beyond oil and agriculture. The government increasingly emphasizes regional connectivity. This includes cooperation with Algeria on desert transportation corridors and cross-border trade routes, fiber optic infrastructure and communication systems. For a landlocked nation, roads and digital networks matter. Economic sovereignty requires movement. Goods must travel, trade must flow, and isolation must be reduced. Officials increasingly frame infrastructure as a security tool as much as an economic one, because regions disconnected from markets often become regions vulnerable to instability. Chapter 6. The Cement Revolution. Sometimes transformation begins with something simple: the cost of cement. One of Niger's most discussed domestic economic policies involved government-backed efforts to lower cement prices. Authorities promoted measures aimed at reducing the cost of a standard 50-kilogram bag, in some cases cutting prices nearly in half. The objective? Accelerate housing construction, infrastructure projects, urban development, and affordable building access. At the same time, officials supported expanded domestic cement production to stabilize supply. To supporters, this was practical economics, a visible policy ordinary people could immediately feel. Chapter 7. The Uranium Question. No conversation about Niger is complete without uranium. For decades, foreign mining companies, especially French-linked interests, played a dominant role in extraction. But after political tensions escalated, Niger's leadership began revisiting older mining agreements. The government increasingly framed uranium as an issue of national sovereignty. The central argument: if Niger possesses strategic resources, more of the value should remain inside Niger. Supporters call this overdue economic justice. Critics warn sudden shifts may discourage investment and complicate international partnerships. Either way, resource nationalism is now central to Niger's political identity. Chapter 8. The AES, a new Sahel power bloc. Perhaps Tchiani's biggest geopolitical move came through alliance building. Together with Mali and Burkina Faso, Niger helped establish the Alliance of Sahel States. The AES increasingly promotes joint military operations, intelligence sharing, and regional defense coordination, reduced Western dependence, and economic cooperation. For supporters, the alliance represents a new African model of sovereignty. For critics, it risks deeper instability and diplomatic isolation. But regardless of opinion, the geopolitical map of West Africa is changing. Fast. Chapter 9. Confirmed versus claimed. Confirmed. AES military cooperation and regional integration. Djirataoua agro-industrial project announcement in Maradi. Expanded emphasis on resource sovereignty and mining revisions. Cement affordability interventions and industrial expansion efforts. Ongoing proposed Dosso 100,000-barrel refinery. Full Trans-Saharan pipeline implementation. Large-scale logistics corridor completion. Long-term industrial self-sufficiency goals. The distinction matters, because announcements are not the same as completed transformation. Clearview Chronicles outro. For decades, Niger exported resources while importing dependence. Now, under General Tchiani, the country is attempting something different. Oil refining, agricultural modernization, regional alliances, mining sovereignty, and an economic model built around national control. Some call it liberation, others call it risky nationalism. But one thing is clear: Niger is no longer following the old script. The question now is whether these mega-projects become foundations for a stronger future or promises too large to fulfill in one of the world's toughest regions.